chairs, everyone. Game 3 is upon us.
That's right. Game 3 is here. I'm happy to see the Newbee combination. I was hoping for the Darkseer burst, but Ben, you looked like you drank vinegar when you saw the Medusa pick.
I mean, I'm just like, wow, crowd's cheering for Medusa. How times have changed.
We just need to have a Naga and a Medusa in the same game, and then we're all just like, yay, fun is to be had. And that's where we're going right now. Game 3 begins. So it all comes down to this, Game 3 between Newbee as well as Team Liquid, who will join OG in our best of 5 grand final today here at the Manila Major. It's finals day.
We got to talk about these cosmetics, Toby.
Do it.
The golden cloak on the Chuan that we just saw.
I expect nothing else but bling from Chuan.
What do you think of this Shadow Cat Drow set?
I do not like it at all. That's a biased opinion. It's actually got some style. Just don't use the cat ears and I will be okay with it all. Alright, so let's look at our game. We're not going to have any battles over the runes this time around. Everything is a lot more passive.
And we got the electrified river.
Yeah, we do.
Oh, yeah.
We go disco on our map.
Is that liquid blue or Newbee blue?
They can be blue together, man. Alright, so Darkseer, I kind of want to talk about this hero. Like, you're up against Disruptor. It seems like KP's going to have a really, really hard lane. Is this the reason why we see him with Iron Talon at the very, very start? Do you almost just abandon until you hit level 4? This is something which I know KP was doing a lot during the group stage games too.
Yeah, I still don't think he's like fully adjusted to the off-lane role, and he's one of the few that do get the Iron Talon on the Darkseer. Yeah, it's okay. He is versus a Phoenix in lane. I guess Sunray after the glimpse back may be a problem, but
it's actually funny that both these teams are doing exactly the same kind of thing. Fada, okay, Moo really, like, Fada is so weak in lane. Like, he's going to go for a heavy Mystic Snake style build, but in the early stages, Moo owns this lane when he's got Spirit Siphon available. But both Mind Control as well as KP, they both didn't even enter their lanes. They both went Iron Talon with a couple of tangos and just went jungle.
I've seen Medusa as someone that will counter Death Prophet a few times because the Mana Shield absorbs the Spirit Siphon, and you don't do that much damage and you don't leech that much life as a Death Prophet. Generally, it's very hard to get around the Spirit Siphon unless you have BKB.
Well, there is one big advantage too, is the fact that Fada, as time goes on, he'll get more and more of that bonus damage coming out from the Drow, and this is the upside as well from Matumberman. The fact that right now he's not having any pressure applied to him up on the top lane, they can just keep farming. Kaka is trying to stay here as close as he possibly can to leech it. If he has to, he'll Arctic Burn over the hillside. Kuro, he actually hasn't leveled up anything yet, so there's no lightning, there's no glimpse available, and Kaka, oh, there you go, he's away. Very difficult to get level 1 glimpse ganks off anyway.
But there's a reason we talk about Fada heroes a lot. Looks like he hasn't played any professional games on Medusa, and only a few times in the pubs, but he's like the DK, the Razor, the Viper, and the Invoker. I would say those are the main ones. He used to play more like Puck and Mag, but recently it's just been the one that's scale a lot. It seems like Medusa is kind of up his alley. Very tanky mid laners that scale very, very well.
It's just a very kind of selfish style hero for a player who is normally like very giving to the rest of his team.
The Stone Gaze is very strong in team fights, and then combine that with the amplified damage on the Slardar and Drow Aura. I think it can even take down very tanky heroes like the Sven, even with Warcry up.
Speaking of Sven, I kind of want to watch the stacks being prepared for him too. Like, because you abandoned the lane, like, you could try and stack up the Ancients. We've already got ourselves a double stack for Newbee's Ancients at the moment. But because the Darkseer has been inside the jungle and had to abandon it early on, abandon his top lane early on, there's not that much stacking being done currently for this Sven. But you've got your level 4 on the Darkseer, exactly what KP waits for. He's already up on the top lane. The 0-2 build, always able to escape, or should be able to escape. Plus the level 2 Iron Shells do work, but Kuro moves over. He's got one in everything right now, so he can drag KP back in a bit. And there comes the glimpse. The wall is up, a perfect gust. The surge is there for KP, and he still runs. Remember, that's the level 2. Can't go all the way down, and this should be first blood right now. Even leaves an extra Iron Shell over on Kuro, probably doing damage to Jirax.
Yeah, I think KP needs a little bit more experience than the offline players. You don't want to TP there. You want to TP back if you get glimpse, because they don't have a secondary way to stop as a teleport. But now, kind of just forced to go back into the jungle there. He did try out TPs before he died, so he has that going for him.
Just the fact that his TP is on cooldown for the moment means he can't go straight back to the lane. Fada taking a hefty amount of damage in the mid. They burned through all of his mana already. But with his TP support coming in from Kuro, just buys a little bit more time. Looks like Fada's going to go all the way back, or at least as far back to the courier, which is only coming with boots. So yeah, he's got to go all the way home. And Jirax is the one who's forced to defend the bottom lane. How, as well as Chorn, starting to creep skip it out, trying to inflict some heavy damage to the tier 1 tower. You lose your Darkseer, sure, that's not great. But if you can get more space, and Hal is able to get that extra gold from the tower early on, maybe this Armored or Blink timing from Hal was able to be increased.
But Liquid are doing much better in their support leveling. Disruptor, I think, is a very hard hero to get levels on early. He's almost level 4, and then Jirax is pretty safe on the bottom lane. Yep, Kaka doing a lot of stats, so I suppose he can catch up that way, but he's only level 2 for the moment.
Okay, he's going to get really sad and this top lane in just a bit. Troy's already 5.5 levels in, so once she hits level 6, obviously you get the aura increase across the map, but it also makes it very easy for Matubman to get rid of those Iron Shell creeps quickly. And that's where KP starts losing his advantage in this lane.
They can just move him to the jungle, and I think he can just buff up Sven to be somewhat useful in team fights. However, Rubik's still struggling in terms of levels, kind of wandering around. But Liquid don't have the most aggressive supports. Phoenix and Disruptor not known for roaming around the map very, very early on, and looks like they will try to turn up the aggression. Chuan and Kaga smoked up near the Radiant Secret Shop.
House forcing into this bottom lane too at the same time. So fortification had to be expended by Liquid. How triggered his God Strength to ensure this tower, and Jirax, he's just hoping, like, if he's able to hit it, which he's able to, the Fire Spirit's able to connect, making it very difficult for Hal to get this last little swing in. So it's a small little duel between Jirax and Hal. In fact, Hal's going to stand up, attacking into Jirax, dropping him very low. Then he takes the tower. So they find that one while up on top lane. Mind Control crushing up, trying to run away too. They get more. Chuan surge forward. He's able to get through the wall, but he needs the pickup. Telekinesis still on cooldown after the first gank.
Nice anticipation by Newbee up there to save KP from a second time. It was very easy to kill him the first time, and they thought they had a second easy kill on him.
So Newbee, you give away first blood, but now you get one in return. The progression of the lanes is not too shabby. The Sven already fairly farmed up, and while the stacks weren't always perfect, there's still a triple stack over on Newbee Ancients. So there's an injection of money that can come the way of the Sven.
I wonder what item build he's going to go for. Armlet is very useful versus the Slaughter Amp and the drought damage.
Oh, they found Mind Control again, pick him up, throwing back, hitting again, the crush. Very ineffective. Kaka being blown off by the gust, actually flying almost sideways there. But with a rotation to move to the top lane, they have Exorcism available. It looks like Newbee just want to make sure all of these tier 1 towers are lost, and Liquid start losing map control because of this.
And Drought Strat not able to do any damage to any of the T1s at the moment. One of the huge downsides of having Medusa to your lineup. Fada, you can't really go to the other lane.
Control, finding Hal. They're going to bring in extra support. No TPs are coming just yet from Newbee. Hal still has Storm Bolt available.
And maybe they can seal the stacks if they had some level split shot on the Medusa, but none picked up yet by Fada.
They're here to defend the mid lane. Splinter Blast able to take care of a lot of the Wave's life. Also hitting Fada quite heavily, so he's down to half of his mana. Long TP in from Chuan. He's got boost, but Mind Control's got sprint, so obviously Mind Control's going to win that foot race, even though he doesn't have feet.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Ow. Wait for the opening, Mind Control. Here he comes again. There's still no amplification. So while all this is going on, Team Liquid, they're using their drone, but now, okay, dive into Nova. Hal gets the stun over from Mind Control. It's all out, it back out, and still the clip. Drag Hal back underneath the T1 tower. He was still fairly tanky. It took him a while. But Liquid, Fada, 60. But Sunray is balanced, and Fada will get a lot of life back now.
You'd be wondering how the hell he got level 6 already. They're still struggling to find level 4. They need to do these stacks to equalize the levels. That's a very early level 6 from Phoenix.
Problem is they keep failing the stacks. This is now the second time I've seen Kaka drag that creep wave, the Ancients out towards the riverside, and it failed both times.
I think they just need to keep on taking it early. It's really hard when it's this large, but Hao hasn't been able to take out the stack. Last game it was KP not doing the stacks. They just need to do it at some point instead of waiting.
He's got 4 points up in Cleve and still got the God Strength available, and he's going to commit the God Strength to this too. Kaka tried to tank it up a little bit by using his Cold Embrace. Liquid actually pushing both Durex and Kuro down to the bot lane. They're primarily trying to babysit Kuro so he's able to hit his Static Storm, get his level 6 up and running. Hal's able to finish up the camp, so this should be majority of his armlet.
So they need the Death Prophet to do a lot of damage in these team fights for them, just because the Sven, he's going to have a really difficult time moving around. He has no BKB, so he can't deal with the kinetic field, like even the Gust, Frost Arrows from the Drow Ranger, and more importantly, like the Medusa and the Stone Gaze plus the Egg combo, which he can't really do anything about. Maybe if Darkseid gets a stick initiation with the Vacuum, but he doesn't have any levels of Vacuum yet.
Yeah. He needs time. Like KP understands that he is not a combat hero at the moment. But unfortunately, because they also took out the tier 1 towers, it's the downside about it. He can't just have the creep wave on top of his own tier 1. There's no safe place for him to farm apart from that small camp next to the secret shop. So he has to start farming up inside the Dire jungle. Like Kaka is a long way forward on this top lane. He'll TP down to the bottom lane now. He's not level 6 yet. He was trying to get it up on the top lane, but he's just shy by 54 XP points.
And Liquid trying to make a statement with that T1.
Here they come down. The dive is going to come forward instantly into the Novus. The blast not bouncing around. How's going to get stunned up? He's not in a great position. They're trying to get the grip of that Novus, but Ray can't do it. Durac will pop that. Finding the stun into the stun ray too. They're still underneath this tier 1 tower team Liquid, but they're taking the fight. Fada moving from support to now core over to Hal. Armor toggle time, combining it with the Cold Embrace. There's no follow-up damage, and Liquid will move over towards Kaka instead, staying inside the tree. Hal trying to lock Fada in, but the storm is up from Kuro. Hal finds the kill, he's locked inside the wall. Still dives to the storm, and then with the stun over off, moving the Gust from the Tumberman. He's playing from the tree line. No, is so low, but still alive. KDP can't reach that Tumber, and he's so close. Now with the surge, he just put the punch on. Now he's got it. Mind Control with the stun, but the Iron Shell damage is too much. Mind Control to the back up with the movement in from Moo. He mops up Durax. And you got the escape from Mind Control. He'll get away, and Team Liquid really being aggressive underneath that Newbee tier 1 tower.
Very necessary buyback coming out from Newbee there. I like KP's there. KP's play there. Got the wall in the back and just kept punching people with his Ion Shell and did whatever he could for that fight and prevented Liquid from taking that tower. It was very important that Newbee made a move there, or else Liquid would just go to the pit and Newbee would be fighting at a very unfavorable position without the T1 there. So nice fight by them. And Hal still doing those Ancients. Kaka still trying to stack him up a little bit more.
Hal might be a little bit sad that he ended up dying, but it might be a little bit sadder too once Tubman's able to have a little bit more range to work with. He's building in for this Dragonlance, Joe Ranger style. While Fada's still trying to tank up.
secret fast and all.
So the net worth's still looking pretty good for Newbee. The top two net worths belong right now to the Darkseer as well as the Sven. Overall, it's only about 1,500.
It just seems like they need a little bit more time.
Yeah.
They do have the level 6 in the Winter Wyvern and the level 6 in the Rubik finally, and a couple points of vacuum onto KP, so their team fight is getting there. However, Liquid, I think they're much stronger. Everyone hits really hard, even without the completed Dragonlance onto the Drow Ranger.
This is why Liquid's probably looking to get aggressive again. They smoke maneuver into the Radiant jungle, putting down another aggressive Observer Ward. At the same time, Newbee also grouping up what looks to be like a four-man smoke. They're away from the Observer Ward of Liquid that was just freshly planted. And actually, that's going to go for the mid. So, Liquid, you can have the tier 1 tower on bottom lane, but the trade-off will be your mid if Newbee commits properly.
I don't think Newbee have that great of tower hitters, though. DP's decent, but you don't want to commit an Exorcism this, even if it is an Arcane Root Exorcism. Al's trying to do some damage to the top lane, but he's not in fighting shape, only 500 HP on him.
You do see Fada TP up to that top lane, and they do commit the Exorcism to it. So with Fada being up on the top, Team Liquid's chance of defending this mid lane is a little bit lower.
And no Blink Dagger yet on mind control. It's not going to be a clean jump from them.
Scan coming out right now from Liquid. They're trying to see if Newbee are having people back up on that high ground just behind the tower. Which, in a way, they did was KP, who was sitting on the stairs.
They don't have any burst, though. They saw that the Sven was kind of on top lane, but without that much HP. And what are they going to do? Lift into nothing?
Yeah.
Iron Shell, I suppose?
Iron Shell, Splinter Blast, you have Curse available, but that's only going to help if Liquid cluster.
Yeah, if like one hero walked up that hill, they shouldn't have been scared. I don't think they needed to use that scan, but it's better to use it.
This money is still rolling in for Newbee. I'm just watching the Sven's timing for that BKB. He's already got the Aero Club sitting on another 1,100 gold.
They need to be able to get on top of the Drow Ranger. You want that marksmanship to be off for as much of the fight as possible.
But in order to do that, you need to have both Blink and BKB on Sven.
You can just haste them then with the surge.
That could work. Newbee, 5-man smoke maneuver. They're coming over to the Dire Ancients at the moment, which Liquid are farming up, and now Karka, does he go for the curse? Gets the vision up, mind control, looking for the copper crush too. The silence, okay, they curse over on this drop and stuff. Now put mind control over the Sunrise, trying to keep him up, and it gets that cleave damage. How? Carving up the Slaughter as well as the Disruptor. And then we'll mop up the rest of the Liquid Ancients. And this is a free ticket to go to that tier 1 tower. It's already heavily injured. With just the illusions the KP has, they can just attack the tower directly. They don't need the creep wave for it. But how actually burns. Okay. Yep. It's just a war cry. Ready to go. The Exorcism is off cooldown. But how far can you go now? You've taken out all the tier 1 towers. You have to look at a bigger objective. And it's actually not a BKB. It's going to be the Echo Saber coming in from the Sven.
They've had a lot of problems dealing with the egg, especially when Jarek's cast it like at the immediate start of the fight when Newbee aren't quite in position yet. So this will help a lot with that. Decent amount of attack speed from him.
Do you still then try and go into the BKB, or do you get the blink and rely on Surge?
I don't think he needs BKB in this game. It's a little bit problematic versus the Disruptor, but that's why you have the rest of your team. You have the Winter Wyvern and the Darkseer to drag them into a position where you can just cleave them. You bring them to you, as opposed to having to run in on them.
Great Observer Ward from Newbee as she scouts out Liquid moving down towards Roshan. They got another one sitting inside the river. Liquid have put down their own one, but instantly Chorn's all over it. Takes care of that Dire Op. They'll get rid of the sentries too. And Team Liquid, they still want Roshan, and amplification is on him. But look at that searching up. There's just done. They're going to catch out Disruptor. Hal wants a quick kill. Sean will end up stealing the lightning. But with the amplification up over on Roshan, maybe Newbee.
Liquid can't leave this pit.
Yeah, they've left it. They don't have their Disruptor. They don't have their big AoE controller. You can come in for a Nova. They're actually going to smoke. They're coming back in again. The smoke's to be broken right now. KG was the one on the front line. But Roshan almost down. How finishing the job. Pick up the Aegis, the Immortal. You're going to lose KG TP for this. The cold embrace from Kaka being used himself, but then the pick up on Matama Dragon, giving very, very close. No way to run away, or maybe up the hill. Fada Curse, he's going to stay exactly where he is. Mike control, Fada, now they come back and finish the job. But double silence from Jurek gets the Suns by a little bit more time. Thanks to that Nova, they'll burn through the air. You can see more, but move the Spirit Cypher is going to work here for a Fada. They just need a little bit more damage. Mind control with the Trip Swarm is dropping him low. Okay, a double damage through. Just magically spawns up from Moo, but he misses uphill. That's attacking into mind control. He's still trying to track over towards Fader, but down the bottom tier. It's cool. Who's on the run from Hal. The stun's up in 2, 1. The creep wave gives the vision. Hal needs to get in range. Kuro break for the trees. Stay in the trees. Down into the tree line. The creep wave can't follow him in there, but Hal will loop around the back. Find Kuro and very quick with the Echo Saber.
And Hal was able to get the Aegis there in Liquid. It's really difficult playing Drow strats when you do not get that very first Roshan, and now Sven completed it with a Blink Dagger. The Drow feels a little squishy at this point. They were just not in position for that fight. You don't want to take a 5-4-on-5, but when Roche is at half with Amp already on him, you're forced. Yeah, you're forced to. Yeah. So it was a really nice egg by Jerax. Jerax, I think, made the best out of a bad situation, using that Sun Ray to take down Sven with the first hit.
It's just so difficult though, like when Newbee are able to isolate one hero. Like you get the initial pick over on the Disruptor, then they go down, it's like, well, who's going to be our next target? KP holds them out, then the Curse isolates another 2, so you can go for just that one isolated hero, come back for the 2. It's like Newbee could just bounce from one target to the next, and there's little Liquid can do about it just thanks to the heavy control.
It would have been much worse had they not lost Darkseer in that early part of the team fight. Darkseer has to do a little bit better job of positioning himself, making sure that he's not focused down. He's their big team fight. He can save everyone else.
Well, KP now has a Blink Dagger, so positioning is going to be a lot easier for him in the next engagement.
Yep, and I like the Ghost Scepter pickup on the Death Prophet. They can't really punish a Ghost Scepter pop. Not that much magic damage, a little bit from Static Storm, but aside from that...
Well, Liquid were looking for that Observer Ward. They're not going to find it. Still sitting on the edge of the pit. Top tier 2 tower gets pressured by Hal. Fada will TP up. And Fortification also being expended. Looks like Hal kind of wants to go in again. He's got Kaka behind him. There's the smoke rotation up from the other 3 players of Newbee who are trying to find the opening. They won't see it, however. The creep wave will come in. They'll realize, okay, this isn't right. Something is wrong. And they could just take the tower unless Liquid. Here they come.
If they get a long duration silence on him, actually it's only level 1 silence, so he should be able to pop Stone Gaze regardless, and then Liquid can kind of swoop in. It's not the best fight for Newbee going on to the Medusa. When they get level 6 silence, I think, or level 4 silence rather, for 6 seconds, I think they can.
Sean actually just started his TP, then instantly cancelled it. Might have been because his Van was already headed down to the bottom lane, which is where he probably wanted to go.
Oh, there's a scan that comes out. It does catch out Kaka.
Well, it's only if Kaka hangs around, which he's always going to TP out. And so is KP. Yeah, Newbee are getting the hell out of here.
But Liquid still think they're around. Just waiting for a jump. Maybe, ideally it would be the Sven for them, but Sven's showing on the bottom lane.
Even if you don't get the heroes, you can still attack into the tier 1 tower.
I don't know if you want to push into the Blink Darkseer. I don't think it was revealed to Liquid.
It's still a draw strat. Like, you need to be able to take out buildings early on. Like, this is the push. They get an outforce behind them too. So the damage output of Team Liquid is quite high. The Splinter Blast makes life a little bit more difficult. So there's obviously a fortified tower.
Middle tower is under attack.
I think it makes life very difficult for them.
Radiant's top tower is under
Anyways,
attack.
they don't have Hal here. Hal still has 9 seconds left on his TP.
Wait for the timing. There's your blink. They end up finding the Winter Wyvern. Jirax gets silenced by Moose, so you can take Sunray out of this fight. The tier 1 tower will drop, but you've still got Hal forcing in that bottom lane, but they're going to start to fight up on top of the back. And then Nova will be coming out. The sun was still pretty good, but Moose walks inside the storm. Moose is gone straight away. The exit is already burned. there's no point for a buyback, and they run into the trees. KP will drop as well, and Team Liquid, they take the fight quite handily, and now they're finding Kaka over in the tree. How wants to help out the sun? He needs the cleave. The curse is out, however. Taking it to How can't really do that much damage, but now he can get a little bit more control. Flat control. The cleave is coming in again. The split blast Kaka keeps pumping it out from the rear end, and Sean moving forward. He's got crushed stolen, looking for a mind control. Is actually going to miss it out, and now Sean will die as well. Kaka and Howe are still on the run. They know mind controls in the streets. He actually pulling south away from the rest of Newbee and will TP away to safety. Expensive fight, still 3 for 2, but Liquid take that tier 1 tower on top.
Nice glimpse set up onto them, and Newbee, they were just not ready. Like, Sven can't get to the fight. If he TP's in, he just gets glimpsed back, and then Liquid just take the T2 out. They have to play better around the Disruptor, and I think Darkseer had a very nice engagement over there with a 3-man vacuum into a wall to save the Death Prophet, but Ghost Scepter isn't going to save you from that.
And Death Prophet just exploded so quickly. Now Howe, he's back up for this top tier 2 tower. They're waiting for someone to come in, and it will be Durax. Now Durax has no idea that Kaka and Howe are hanging around here. The vision just isn't there for him.
They have to be more careful about the Winter's Curse. They used it like as Howe was about to burst people down with his God Strength.
Yeah, that
he's like, who do I hit now?
It's like, well, I can attack, but I'm going to do minimal damage and still keep myself in a risky position.
I don't think Drow's an ideal target to cast a curse on because she has a lot of armor. 24 at this point. I think you want to cast on Slardar when he has Amp. Maybe the Disruptor or the Phoenix so you can get their hands on them.
So close to the trees. The pings are coming out right now. It's like, you should get the hell out of there. I think that was actually Sean feeding at Hal. Jirax actually just committed his Nova underneath the tower. Not certain if he felt he was being jumped on or what that was about.
Not sure.
Just checking the R button still works.
Moo is very underfarmed. It's 6,000 net worth, well behind any of the other cores. I guess aside from the Slardar. But he needs more items. He needs BKB at some point so he can just walk around the fight and do his thing. Not get glimpsed in a bad position.
Well, it's close to it for Sven. 1100 on him at the moment with everything else still sitting there. And after he takes out these Ancients, blinks up to the other can, he should have the cash for it. Mind Control is also playing very, very defensive. He's getting close towards that Force Staff.
Okay. He doesn't need that many items to make big plays. He like dodged that crush from the Rubik and then got the counter kill on the Rubik. That was very nice. So proving that he can make plays without a blink, without a Force Staff, doesn't matter.
I wonder what happens too once Rubik picks up his blink. KP as well as Mind Control are so close. They can probably sniff each other's body odor at the moment through the tree line. But Mind Control, KP just keeps the push going. And no one's coming over from Team Liquid. They're too busy just trying to get that little bit of extra money into the Drow range who built into a Shadow Blade. Trying to be a little bit more elusive over on the Tumberman. Easier way to guarantee your Gust too. But the way Newbee are fighting, like, they're 5 men all the time together.
It could also be really useful to build a Silver Edge and just hit the Sven or the Death Prophet with it. They just need to survive, I think, the initial burst. The vacuum wall into Sven, Echo's Taper with God Strength hit, and then the Exorcism. If they can survive that, and then maybe take down the Death Prophet, they'll be in a pretty good spot. But it'll all come out from like a maybe very timely Stone Gaze and good Phoenix play.
Newbee. If they walk into Roshan and stay for 15 seconds, he's going to spawn for him. So they have a quick peek in. Ruby's going to throw down the Observer Ward, but they're like, it's like 10 seconds. That's all they need to do. But they're waiting under the cover of smoke. Drow's going to show us stuff. Sean moves up. They understand they're up. They're blink right. Instantly to know, but Sean moves. They're burning up too quickly. Sean walking, find that storm. The Nova about to pump as well. Move KP and Carcass. They can't go anywhere. The fun rate turned on. Mind control all over it. They're going to bring down at least two either way because how ripped apart the back line and bringing down the Drone Ranger. Jurek also has to be careful. He's actually dying to himself at the moment. It's the wall illusion which is attacking him. Thanks to the spirit, he'll be able to survive. The 2-for-2 trade-off as both teams walk into each other. And now KP up on the top, mind control. The surge is still up for KP. He needs the distance so he can start the blink, but because you actually have the amplification on him, KP wants to run, and they have the damage. The Dark Sea will explode from the top lane.
That was a really nice jump from Liquid, and they popped right in full vision of that observer ward. That observer ward was popped before the smoking happened, and Chuan just kind of isolated as a Rubik. Reminds me of that LGD game.
But Hal's still finding more and more kills. Now he builds into what looks to be Crystallis to Daedalus.
Yeah, you expect him to do that though with the BKB reveal, and he blinked to the opposite side of the Medusa so that he wasn't facing the Medusa for the Stone Gate. So this means the drop already has to stay close to the Medusa so that they can kite the Sven. You have to kite his BKB with Stone Gate.
Liquid. We're back to Roshan. There's still no KP. He's on the sidelines for another 5 seconds. Kaka can probably have a bit of a peek over. As they understand, thanks to the Observe Ward, which is over inside the Radiant Jungle from Team Liquid, they see where Hao as well as Kaka want to initiate from. Roshan's low. Roshan, in fact, will now go down. Hao because he gets hit by the blink, by the snake. Can't blink out. In fact, going to be the blink in. Comes from mind control for the BKB with the strength. They rip through the slider, and with a pickup on the Ranger from Sean. Thomas into a bit of a bad position, but it's now a Roshan trade-off. You're a little bit in trouble there, Phoenix. He's still got Icarus Dive as well as Nova, but they're waiting behind it. The Observer and Sentry's down. They've blinked back from KP, catching up to Tolman. They put the Linker Spear on, so there's no other control factor to come their way. But they're trying to make the most out of the end of this exorcism. Maybe they can inflict damage into this tier 2 tower. Fortification is up for Team Liquid. They're blinking out Jirak in through the tree line. And the pickup from Chorn. Thanks to the Observer Ward, they saw Jirak coming. The damage is hiding with the Stormbolt as well. The Stormbolt's going to be there. So Phoenix is out of the fight. Unless she wants to buy back, but it's going to be worth it to defend the tier 2 tower. Fada still wants to have a little bit of an opening here, but he's not going to find it because Newbee are bailing.
Yep, Slaughter's back. Kuro looking for a glimpse opportunity. Will they get on Kaka? Oh my goodness, he was so close. And how he salvaged that fight with that BKB pop as Slaughter came in. That was so clutch.
So quick. Lightning fast reactions. And again, we see the power of that Sven. And they just keep fueling him as well. There's 10 kills over on Hal. The biggest killer on the game right now, sitting at almost 17,000 net worth, a full 6K in front of the Medusa.
Medusa's not dying in these fights. She's only died once this game, and will continue to scale. This is kind of like where she starts to ramp up her farm after she gets her second item and can farm quickly, maybe not as quickly as a Sven, but much more quickly than the first 20 minutes.
Is Medusa still enough, though? When you're losing your other cores around you, like when Matolman drops down, like you lose that bonus 56 damage, which he's currently relying on.
You have Amp and you have Drow Ranger, so I think like even the supports can do a fair amount of right-click damage come late game. So it's not that big of a deal for them, and they are building for late game Drow Ranger with the Shadow Blade as opposed to something else that, like a Yasha, I would say that would be more heavily focused onto pushing down the towers. So they can get some pretty good picks too. I think like the Darkseer has to be very scared because of the Shadow Blade pickup from the Drow Ranger. The Winter Wyvern can't do its normal cheeky, let's push out the Silent Winter Blast tricks.
Do you actually also look towards the Medusa to get, I don't know if she actually wants to get a Diffusal Blade, just because of the amount of Ghost Scepter switcher on the field. Like Mu, instead of going for like the bigger items you normally see on a Death Prophet, like it's Duels and Ghost Scepter.
That's for the Slaughter plus Drow Ranger burst, I think. And like the Medusa, you don't want Diffusal Blade. You build up for like that six slot Medusa, because I think she is one of the best late gamers. So you want items that are going to stick, and Diffusal Blade is just not the ideal option. You don't get the mana burn on the other heroes, and you're not moving around in the fights a lot. I think it's good if you're chasing a lot, but Medusa, you just stand there under the protection of the egg, wait for them to come to you. It's because Sven has to run up to Medusa, and with the Lincoln Sphere, it's going to be very difficult for how to get his hands on Fada.
Big damage starting to arrive for House. The full Daedalus done. We're only 29 minutes in, and he's practically 6-slotted. Like, it's not the biggest powerhouse of the 6 slots, but still a very comfortable position for this event.
And a couple pretty big items coming out. Drow Ranger with the BKB, and we see the Darks here building into a Crimson Guard. Very good versus the Medusa, and all this right click from the Drow lineup.
Newbee are coming over. They're going to surge over on Chuan. And have a very quick glimpse of Matumban and Kuro coming down, but it's Hal who's trapped. He BKBs, goes with the stun, finds Kuro, probably take one hit. No, there's going to be 2 to get the kill. Then they move over to Matumban, put it in the distance, and another quick pop. The Noble will pop down. Howley's run away from this. He's so low on the life of the Mystic Snake. There's not enough to kill him. Mom is the rest of the fight with the Yules up for move. Able to evade the fight. They're TPing up. How? He's actually TPing up at Mind Control. Finds him in the tree line. A big kill. Slaughter getting over 1k gold for that.
Yeah, it's about even for his buyback at that point. And Liquid looking to pursue a lot further. Drow Ranger actually did a lot of damage to Sven during his BKB Warcry. I think he popped Warcry. It looked like he didn't, but...
Yeah, she's hitting like a truck. And this is just getting better now for Liquid, because Fada, that Skadi is about to be completed. And with Sven on the sidelines for 45 seconds, Liquid can inflict some level of damage. And that's why you see Moon now already on the bottom lane, trying to push this out as quickly as he possibly can, so at least there's some level of like side lane trade coming in. Because it's the danger zone when you're a Dragonlance or a Drow Ranger. She doesn't have to enter the space in order to do a heavy amount of damage.
Oh, but this is very problematic for Moo. Or how rather, the Scotty out on the Medusa. So this is like, they had a lot of damage person last time. That's one way to deal with the Sven. Now they have the Scotty and they have the Stone Gaze. So they need alternate damage sources. They need big vacuum walls coming out from the Darks here. They need Death Pop to stay alive, but I don't know. It just looks like Howl's the only person that's really far in the Newbie and can do a lot of damage in the team fight. I guess there's Winter's Curse. We haven't seen a good one from Kaka yet.
Yeah. Well, it's because you haven't really, like, Liquid haven't given them the opportunity. They're always spaced out. They're always moving around like in like 2 or 3s. Like even that bottom fight, you had 2 coming in from the top, 3 coming in from the bottom. There's no like, hey, we can get a big fat curse off. Maybe you can with just the 2 or the 3, but then you've got to commit God Strength. But that's not the way that fight began. It came with the pincer movement on the Sven, who had to BKB and stun, and he still only hit 1 target with his stun as well.
Yeah, even if you see 2 heroes, like if you see Disruptor and Drow, like you did in the fight, you can just Winter's Curse the Disruptor, and the Disruptor should die during that. If not, then you still get the silence to follow up, and then Disruptor is gonna die without getting a spell up. That's what you want. You don't want any of these heroes to get their spells off if you're Newbie.
How got a quick snipe on the tier 2 tower on the top lane. This now opens up the tier 3 for Assault. It almost levels up the towers. Like that mid tower is very, in fact, both the remaining tier 2 towers from Team Liquid are on a beast-stick of life. Liquid need to keep the pressure out so this doesn't, like, that the creep wave just doesn't push in.
And Newbie have wisened up this series and finally bought themselves a gem.
Remove that vision from Team Liquid if possible. Fada comes to defend. The Mystic Snake's just going to be a bit of a pain. Takes out the creep wave and makes it difficult to attack into the tier 2.
Well, the gem's also really important versus Matumba, man. So they can kill him in team fights. But still, not a good way to deal with a Medusa. If anything, like Newbie might consider getting, like, Diffusable Manta is most melee's choice. If not Sven, but like Juggernaut, those sort of heroes, when you want to deal damage to Medusa, but he's still continuing to scale, and that net worth gap in between the spend and Medusa is now only 3,000. It used to be just 6,000 not too long ago.
Newbee had to come home. They willingly let their tower take about 500 damage. Because they was probably still wondering if they could attack Liquid. But with a double creep wave, including Catapult pushing in, now that tier 3 tower is a little bit chipped.
So now Sven has a problem with he needs too many items. He needed the BKB to deal with their team fight, the Disruptor, and so on, but he also needs armor because he just died to physical damage last fight, and some way to deal with the amplified damage. He's probably also going to need an MKB later because Drought typically builds into a butterfly. So I don't know if he's going to have that much freedom to go any unusual items.
Kaka walked within an inch of the Observer Ward. Now he's finally going to find it. And they'll give it over to Hal, because obviously he needs more money.
And this is a very quick Roshan respawn, 30 seconds. And Liquid are already posed around the pit. Newbee, I think they're looking for a smoke. It's about that time.
Yep, and there it is. 5-man smoke maneuver. They're going to push up through mid. Thanks to their Observer Ward, they understand the Team Liquid are here in force in the mid lane, but if they can get that jump, the San's over on fire. They trigger the Lincoln Spear. Hal will get the stun as well, but up on the cliff side, AP to back the ball, not really having that much effect, but there's still one fighter down with the North, however, and the third game. They can't go anywhere. Just split the provider. Bruce the Bassett decided at the end with a sheer rank pop. They find the kill. KP to go. How to join him in the grave. The 3 cores have been lost here for the Newbee. And Team Liquid, with a 75-second window until this vents back up again, they can go straight down the mid. Don't worry about Roshan, you're claiming grass.
And Newbee with the right idea there, jumping onto the Medusa, but how misses Blink? His Blink was onto the low ground, and he stunned onto the high ground, but he had to walk all the way over, and they had a very long silence on the Medusa, but she still had enough mana to cast Stone Gaze, and that is where the fight just went completely south for Newbee.
You can see it again here. The fact, the control, it just doesn't happen. At the same time, back in the real world. Oh, wow, that is such a horrible, horrible time. But back in the real world, Sean, having a little bit of trouble, locked inside the wall. The Golden Embrace keeping him alive a little bit. They get through the tier 3 tower. He steals Mystic Snake. The Chorn is now down too. He has the buyback. But you accept the fact right now, Newbee, you've lost your mid-rack. Liquid, they can rotate down to the bottom lane, but they do not want to overstay their welcome. 21 seconds now until this vents back up. That's the one they'll be really worried about, but they're going to buy back out from Chuan. Liquid are happy with what they got. They take the racks, they now don't overstay their welcome, and they move towards Roshan.
Another small thing that changed that big team fight was Medusa's recent pickup of the Talisman of Aiden. She had picked it up right before. And 25% versus like Echo State versus Fed is going to be a lot.
Liquid, it looks like the dream to get back into that final. Maybe this time around they're able to win the major.
Yeah, they taste it at this point. And Newbee, they're at a loss at how to approach these team fights. Winter's Curse just not being very effective versus like the Dragonlance and the Drow Ranger just makes positioning much, much easier. Silver Edge to deal with the Sven. No BKB on a Death Province. She just gets controlled by the Static Storm, the Kinetic Field, and the Egg.
And Newbee needs something. They really need something.
Vacuum wall.
That's pretty much it.
Cleave.
A lot more than like just a one hero target. They try to use all their control abilities just to kill off one hero who they didn't even get. That's a salty kind of way to look at a fight for Newbee, but you got no other choice. Like right now, you need to catch Liquid with their pants down somehow. But you also you gave them. I think they actually didn't give the gem over. Kaka's still holding on to that.
So Liquid So they realize if they push up high ground, they do have the potential to lose to that huge team fight combination, the vacuum wall into just Sven. Like those two heroes alone can wipe 3, 4, 5 heroes of Liquid. So now they're trying to limit their other avenues of defeat, which is, I would say, them split pushing a lot, Darkseer just being a nuisance in the side lanes, and Death Prophet getting items. These two heroes are the heroes they need to concentrate on. Sven's already very, very farmed, and they have tools to deal with them. It's more so the other heroes. So now you will see this Shadow Blade on the Slarnar. So he is a very big threat to any of these split pushing heroes, and anyone that farms the jungle is going to have to deal with him. And they see it. They know.
Yeah, that Observer Ward sees all. But thanks to the gem which Kuro has also purchased.
But they can't farm. That's the problem. Like, no one is farming aside from Hal.
Yeah. Moo's getting a little bit, but it's not a hell of a lot. At least got the plate mail now, so there's a little bit more armor onto that Death Prophet.
But Fado is, I think, unkillable at this point. Yes, Butterfly, there's no MKB in sight. He has a ton of damage from the Drow, so he's hitting for 300. That's without split shot on, so a little bit less because of that. And the cheese. Cheese, like Medusa the cheese, good luck.
But Tubman also is going to survive and keep that aura up. He's finished up a Satanic to go with that Silver Edge. And here comes Liquid. They're going to come in through the front lines. Barda's the first man. They burn through him a little bit, but not that much.
Just Blast is good. The anti-push to it. That one is just a single hero hitting your tower. And the Dragon Lance on Drow Ranger also makes it really easy to high ground siege. Look at that range.
As long as she doesn't miss every time.
You still don't have to worry about.
They link into the tower. They go just with a blunt to say goodbye to the crew rate. Hal's going to cleave it. Now the curse over on Fada. They need this Medusa down with a back. The wall will come up as well. Fada's being controlled by the Rubik. But Fada still has that piece available. Now he's going to trigger it. Still losing a lot. Oh, life. Jumping from T-Rex, he doesn't follow up the Nova, but the accident is there from Bird. But Hubble wants to try and fight this one. The Nova is down. How cold embrace. He can't walk away from the Nova hit. He's going to pop, and now he's down into the buyback. They need to keep fighting. Newbee needs some extra kills here. They need to hold up their rack. The mid lane's already been pressured, but Liquid are not giving them the opportunity. They've bailed all the way back up to their own high side. And they take the tier 3 tower, they get a big buyback out from Newbee.
That is not how you want to use Winter's Curse. Those like worse than a Primal Roar at that point. They did have the vacuum come out a little bit late, but I don't think that either the Winter Wyvern or the Darkseer were ready for that.
There's almost that moment where it's like, oh, this guy's just far enough out, like we just lock him down, then we can all come in and position ourselves.
But it's Medusa.
Yeah, it's a Medusa.
Her effective HP is, what, 7,000 maybe? Almost 7,000?
And it's extremely high. So Team Liquid. So you've at least burnt through the cheese, but the Aegis Immortal is still sitting on the Tumberman as well.
Yeah, they can go for another round with Drow being that siege engine instead of the Medusa. And Newbee with no buyback up on Sven are just one mistake from being eliminated for the Manila Major.
Well, it's like Moo's going to buy out for this. He's going to pick up a Shiva's Guard. So Moo's got something a little bit more to work with, but Liquid, they're here on the hunt. They get the blink crushed over on Kaka. They still see him thanks to that Observe Ward that's there. So say goodbye to that too. Kaka blinks away. Hal needs to walk with him too. In fact, he's not even going to walk. He just blinks out. There's a little bit of trouble. Moo is trapped. Remember, no buyback. He already bought the Jesus Guard. The Yule sets the run for Kaka. He can't come close. But he gets walked in by Kuro. Moo will walk past the storm, but he's down. 1 minute. Without the Death Prophet, Liquid, they are very close to doing it. KP, this is one moment, the back door, the double stun. They need that big damage down, but they just don't have it. They try and push forward, but then it's don't escape. How being crushed, they're going to focus him down. If Hal goes, it's over. They've lost too much, and there it is. Team Liquid are going to the grand finals of the Manila Major.
The Medusa pick was a stroke of genius by Kuro. It is just incredibly good at dealing with the Sven. all these great heroes. Fantastic positioning, did not get caught by a multiple man curse wall, which Newbee were just hoping for, praying for the entire game.